So communication, we talked about that right away. That's one of the 7 pieces. And again, know what you are and your partner is and try to have this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of ways to communicate. For example, even the way you disagree is interesting. I mean, I used to just argue with somebody till they give up. And my wife does a great thing. She goes, let's agree to disagree. I can do that. And in conflict resolution, we find that usually the conflict comes down to somebody's needs not being met. It's unmet needs. And the way this can happen in a communication is something like this. Somebody says, one person says to the other, should we go on holiday this year? And the other person says, well, I don't want to go abroad. And they go, oh, why are you always so negative? So they jump from a request to have a vacation and straight to a personal criticism, and also the language of permanence. Why are you always so negative? Right. So the first person says, their need is a vacation. The others is, their need is not to travel too much. That could be negotiated, but as soon as you go to the level of personal criticism, bam, it's into an argument. Yeah? Right. And that is a very common phenomenon that I see, and again, comes up in the research. Yeah. Yes, I mean, John Gottman, who's done he can sit in front of a couple and within a few minutes tell them whether they're going to stay together or not. And it comes down to years of having studied the communication, not just what they're saying, but the nuances in the tone of it. And as soon as a couple's got to contempt, it's over. Finish. Yeah. And so you don't want to get there, but the route to that is things like continual personal criticism, rather than actually just stating what your needs are. I mean, you could actually just say to the other person, what do you need from me? You know? And this doesn't have to be in a romantic communication. It can be in all relationships. You know, one of the things I've noticed since I wrote this book and began using this system myself is I've had a lot of spontaneous attacks of reasonableness. You know, in the past where people say, I do this, and I go, hey, we're doing it my way. I just go, well, let's give it a go. You know, let's see why do you think that'll work? You know, and actually, I've noticed that there's been a change in my communication.
And that was my next question. This doesn't only apply to romantic relationships, this book.
No, it's the idea. I mean, that's going to be the first and foremost. The people that will buy this book, the majority of them will either be single, wanting to be in a relationship, being self-saboteurs, repeating the same mistakes over and over again, right. You know. And
is that most people?
That's a lot of people. Okay. Well, that comes from we seek the teeth that made the wounds. You know, when we grow up, we watch a training video of mum and dad, right. And we go, we learn that's how we relate, and we decide, well, I'm never going to be like those two, or we're exactly like those two, or we're like one of them. We go, I've had enough of dating this person, I'm going to date somebody different, and then we become the polar opposite. So this is how people end up repeating the same things over and over again, or they have inside themselves, they don't think of themselves as worthy of love, or they think they're not a great person, or their self-esteem is low. So they find people to go confirm it. They go find bad boys, or people are abusers or whatever. And so part of it is fixing you on the inside, because as we mentioned earlier, when you're happy, the world's a better place, you're more likely to find a functional relationship.
It's amazing that anyone gets together ever, or there's any positive relationships. I mean, it sounds like it's just a big messy sewer out there, Paul.
Well, you could look at it like that, or you could take another view, which is, because people have said, isn't this all a bit mechanical? I go, no. This is stacking the cards in your favor, right? But love is still mysterious and amazing. You can't put it under a microscope, yet we know it exists. And I'd say it's one of the most powerful forces in the universe. I worked with somebody this morning, and him and his partner clearly love each other. They argue about this and this because some certain unmet needs, which was pretty easy to spot. And so once that's cleared up, oh yeah, of course, I'm coming from a place of insecurity, so I'm being needy. And then they don't like me being needy, so then they reject me. And then this self-fulfilling prophecy comes about of, I've been rejected again, yeah? Instead of coming from a place of security, which is, by the way, it's not easy for people to go fix this themselves. An insight sometimes is enough, sometimes it isn't. That's why this book comes with a trance. It comes with audio and video. And so, as I mentioned earlier, Brian, people want me to pop out and do it to them. So with something like a self-saboteur, I do a simple parts negotiation. I say, there's a part of you that wants to be in a relationship. There's another part that is terrified that as soon as you fall for someone else, you'll lose control, you'll get hurt. And so they sabotage it to stop the pain early on. Now, both of them have got a positive intent. They're doing what they think is best for you. Get them together and get them to work for you. And when they do that, you can find, if you think, oh, this person is taking advantage of me, you can withdraw. But if not, you go with it. So you surf through life. with that in mind.
And having that outside help is really important because it's very hard to figure this stuff out between two people in a relationship because you don't know what you're doing and you're in it, so you can't be objective about your own behavior.
That's right. When you're inside it.
And then you have a man and a woman too. A lot of times, not always, but then it's completely different.
Who think differently.
Mars and Venus as well. So it's important to have something like a book, a trance, something to separate you from the situation.
Well, also, you are the expert on you. So what I don't want to do is install my model of happiness in other people. I want to elicit from you what it is that you want. Because ultimately, you're going to be with somebody who you share values with. So I've heard it said that opposites attract. But that may seem like it is true on the surface. You might have a husband who's outgoing, man of the house, strong, wife who's more of an observer, quiet, but supportive. Now, even though their styles are different, at the level of values, they might have the same idea about the husband's role, the wife's role, and they might value that. So that's really, I think that's where you're going to connect with people who you've got shared values with, who you communicate with in a way that creates rapport. When you're in a good place, and you know that you're going to disagree, but if you disagree in a way that allows the integrity of the relationship to stay stable, then it's going to work, particularly if you've got a shared vision of the future, because that's very important. I used to be a relentless goal setter, and I moved over to values. So, my values being love, health, happiness, creativity. If I can tick the box every day that I'm living those values, then my life's worthwhile. But also, in a future now, I have like a direction. So I believe it's important to have a direction, because if you set off in a boat without a rudder, you could end up anywhere. And so have a direction. So if I look into my future, I see a lot of good things. Some of those are things I know are going to happen. I know I'm going to be on vacation in a few weeks. I know I'm going to be in the summertime seeing some friends. I know that Christmas I'll be with my family, et cetera, et cetera. But in the meantime, I've got loads of work events and things. But I see me in my future, and this is real important. There's a lot of people look in their future and they see themselves, earning loads of money, but all they do is they see a big house, a car, and a boat, but they don't see themselves looking healthy and happy. They don't see what they could do is burn out trying to get that. So I make sure I'm in the future, in my pictures in my head, looking good, happy, smiling, enjoying life, that sort of stuff. Whereas in the past, it was very much about the status stuff. I shall have another Bentley here, that sort of thing.
Right, and you avoid that now because that didn't get you where you wanted to be.
Well, no, I wouldn't say what I would say is I don't avoid it, because I do like nice things, particularly toys. But I don't make my life about status symbols. I make it much more about the love and happiness I share with those people I like, and also I really get a thrill out of creating a positive change in the world. That's my thing, and sometimes that's with one person at a time, because I still work with people one-to-one. Sometimes it's with big groups when I do these live events. And then sometimes it's, some mass thing that I do online, or, a new book, and I can reach millions of people with that.